Of course, the straight line of authority and succession did not end with the first generation after the apostles. Those successors of the apostles also taught, discipled, approved, and ordained their own successors, like Irenaeus and others. In fact, thanks to Eusebius and other early writers, we can trace the line of succession for the most important apostolic churches from the time of the apostles down to Eusebius's day. Again, it's important to emphasize no one could just take authority upon himself to preach or start a new local church. That person had to be sent by the church with the church's authority. As Peter's first New Testament letter indicates by the reference to Babylon, and as all early sources confirm, Peter made his way to Rome, where he permanently resided and ruled for 25 years, according to Eusebius. And because of his long reign there, and joint collaboration and martyrdom with Paul at Rome, and of course the authority given to him by Christ, Peter transferred his own preeminent teaching office to his successors at Rome, including biblical figures like Linus and Clement, who are mentioned in Paul's letters. Because of Rome's preeminent authority, its line of succession is well attested early on by writers like Irenaeus and Hegesippus. I'd encourage you to check out Joshua Charles's Eternal Christendom website, which nicely gives us Eusebius's bishop lists with specific references to Eusebius's church history. Here is a screenshot sample for Rome. And again, because the church at Rome was preeminent and prominent in authority, we can trace the line of bishops for Rome all the way from Peter till the current day with Pope Leo XIV. Now, I tend to agree with Michael Lofton that it is technically a demotion to refer to Peter as a bishop of Rome, as Eusebius does, or as the first pope, as many Catholics today do. With the ability to author and authorize inspired scripture, every apostle had greater authority than any bishop of Rome. But no need to belabor or quarrel over this. Historical tradition tells us that the church at Antioch was founded by Peter, who left ordained successors Evodius, who we know very little about, and was followed by the famous Ignatius, whose 7 letters have survived to us. Again, we have a straight line of authority at Antioch. Here is the succession list from Eusebius found on Joshua Charles's Eternal Christendom website with specific references. Again, we have an early tracing of the bishop's succession at Antioch here. Historical tradition tells us Peter sent Mark the Evangelist to Alexandria to preach and found the church there, starting a line of authoritative succession at Alexandria. Much later sources tell us Mark performed a miracle for the shoemaker Anianus, who became his successor as bishop of Alexandria. And here are screenshot samples for Alexandria and Jerusalem. Regarding Jerusalem, the first 12 chapters of Acts center around Peter's ministry in Judea, Galilee, and Samaria, including Jerusalem specifically. But by the time of Acts 15, we clearly see that James is now leading and ruling the local church at Jerusalem, and Eusebius gives us his successors there. The less important the church, the less has been preserved to us today in terms of succession. Here is all I could find for the church at Smyrna. And here is what I could find for Crete and Ephesus.